What is Pastor James here? Okay, so media, kindly project Pastor James' number, if you can do that for us. Sonat number, so that if you feel like you don't want anybody to know the type of question you want to ask, maybe you want to ask questions about sex or anything, you don't want us to think of you of anything. I don't think why you should think that way. Ask, and ye shall receive. But if you think that way, please share your number with him. Brother Sonat, please come. You can take your questions. Send your number to him, and then he will take it from there. So I doubled as just the MC for Brother Sonat. Let's appreciate him. He's the one in charge today. But I have something to say, Rev, and then Brother Sonat will have some questions that are already here, and then we can also go around. So, I love, one thing about me, I love loud music. Okay, so when I sit in my car, if you've been here before, you know that I love loud music with a lot of bass. My car, the bass is 9, but since I bought it, it's at 8 every time. And my wife hates loud music. And the beginning of the forming, I didn't see it.
Okay.
Because I was playing loud music when I picked her to places and she was enjoying. But when we got married and now, when she sits in my car, she's complaining, and I don't like it. Because I want my music to be very loud, but it is like that. So it's just bringing me to the situation where you see that during the forming, what happens when you have the butterflies, and what happens when after the marriage, when the relative. To the extent that I picked my 3-year-old daughter in school, and I was already coming from work playing loud music. When she joined the car, she's like, "Daddy, why? The music is loud." And I'm like, "What did my wife tell these ones?" They've started to be on my case. So Rev, that's one part of it. We realized that at the point of you getting involved with the lady or the guy, you overlook a lot of things, and you don't pay attention. You don't discuss how many children you want to have. But in the course of the marriage, when you have one, you want to stop. The lady might say, "I want 3 or 4, and some of these things start to happen. So thanks a lot, Rev, for today and for what you've taken us through. Jude intentionally was late, maybe because Jude didn't bring the beloved. So, but Jude is here. Let's appreciate him. Yes. So, Brother Sonat, please go ahead.
Sorry. So, the first question: how many times should a couple have sex in a week?
Okay, please give Vicky a microphone, okay? Okay, so we're answering the question together, right? How many times should a couple have sex in a week? Okay, so I will say that it should be discussed. And a middle ground should be found based on the sexual preference of both spouses. But there should be enough room to always rediscuss when the need be. It will be difficult for me to be here and prescribe something like that. But I think it should be discussed, and there should be enough room to always adjust and look at it. I don't know if Vicky has anything to add to that.
So, like Pastor Derek said, it should be discussed. But, research...
Okay.
Yes, from the medical point of view, sex should be like 3 times a week. Yes, 3 times a week, because... please, I'm talking from the medical aspect, yes. When you have sex, and during the process of the orgasm stage, there's this chemical that is released in the brain that causes the excitement. And because a lot of people are under stress nowadays, when you do that, it brings down the stress. Yes, when you do that, it brings down stress, and it brings and doing that often will bring down a lot of these chronic ailments like high BP, yes, and the rest. Because when you're under stress, your BP will automatically go down. But when you do that and the dopamine in the brain does its work, it releases the stress. Yes, so medically, please. And that one too has to do with age. So when you're in your 20s, your 30s, and the energy or the strength is there, you can do it. But as you age, it reduces. Yes, thank you.
All right, okay. Okay, there's a question from our brother.
Okay, I think I have to add up to what our sister said. Yeah, so age, as she said, age is part. Okay. Now, you must also look at the fact that, especially in the men's point of view, whilst you are growing, and then you have a lot of responsibilities at home, sometimes your mind is far away. It's somewhere else, how to make things work and all that. So in so do you see that sort of libido you even have for sex drive, goes down. And that's where maybe the woman also needs to come in and help. So our women here, I think we have some responsibility. And now that the stresses are very high, we need you to try and then put us in the nice and safe mindset for the action. Thank you. The next question, please.
Okay. My question is, how do you know the difference between being patient enough and tolerating disrespect in marriage?
How do you know the difference between being patient with your spouse and tolerating disrespect? Okay. So our brother wants to know at what point is it do you exercise patience, and otherwise say, no, this is disrespect. Is that not it? Okay. So this is what I want to say, and these are the things you should discuss during the forming stage. Because of our different backgrounds, what you may consider disrespect may not necessarily mean disrespect for the one you are dating because of the different backgrounds. So it is very important, very early in the forming stage, to define what disrespect is, so that the other person also knows what you consider as disrespect. But if that is not done, and she does something, you might take it as disrespect, and she might not think it's disrespect. And when you're in a storming session like that, everybody will now begin to defend their positions. She disrespect, no, I didn't disrespect you, I just said this and all of that. So it's important that ground rules are set. Of course, certain things are obvious. Unless somebody is prideful, the person should be able to apologize that this is not right. But it is important you sit together and agree and discuss. What will you consider as disrespect? And especially the ladies should make it a point to ask these questions during the forming stage. What will you consider disrespect? And the man should also be able to ask them, what will mean love to you? What will mean care to you? Because, like I said, when you say you are feeling sick and I say go to the hospital, I think I'm caring. After all, I'm giving you a good premium insurance card. You can go. But for the lady, care means taking me to the hospital. You see? And if that is not discussed, you might be on different sides and you have disagreement because your expectation is different from her expectation. So it's always important to discuss things like this. Right? Okay. You have a follow-up question? Okay.
So in a situation where both parties feel like they are both right, How do you resolve the issue?
Okay, so we face that a lot. He says in a where both parties think that they are both right. How do you resolve the issue? Let me give an opportunity to somebody who may want to attempt before I come in. Somebody wants to come in. You want to come in? Okay. You are attempting an answer, right? Okay, powerful.
One thing I also believe is that at this storming stage, there should be an ability to let go. Yes. One want to be right, the other also want to be right, but one should be at a point of letting go. Even though you are right, even though I am right, but I have decided to let go. So you come to a point where you must learn to forgive, regardless of what happened. So maybe couples have been to bed, both are angry. I believe women are homekeepers. So it will be nice for the woman to wake the husband at night. Honey, what happened? I'm sorry. Okay? Ask for forgiveness, pray, and even cement it with hot fire.
Okay, powerful.
These things will let go these things.
Okay. Powerful, powerful. Are you married? No. Okay. Okay, powerful. So our brother has attempted an answer. Any other attempts? All right, okay. So our brother was asking the question, what do you do when both parties think they are right? So there's an issue. Both parties think they are right. What do you do? You see, all that our brother said is what will come in what we call the numbing stage. The numbing stage. At the storming stage, it's exactly what you are saying. Both will think they are right. They are right. What you do is to grow. What you do is to what? To grow. Like I said, you must come to the place where you give yourself honest feedbacks. You reflect and give yourself honest feedbacks. You know, when both parties think they are right, they are not pretending about it, or they truly believe they are right. And that is because they are right from their background perspective. In a case like that, you need to get someone that you both look up to. Because you see, when I still insist on it, you will still tell me you are right. But there must be somebody that you both look up to, who must be able to tell you that, no, you were not right, you are wrong, and the person is able to accept it. If you do not have anybody like that in your marriage, there's an issue. There's an issue. You must always have someone that the man looks up to, the woman looks up to. When there's an issue, they are ready to submit to his judgment of the issue and move on. At least at the storming stage. And move on. But when you lack such a person in your marriage, then you are right, I'm right, will never be resolved. Because you are limiting it to what you think you know. To some extent, exposure helps. And if the person is true to himself, so he comes for a meeting like this, he's thought about things like this, he looks back at what he has done and said, oh, so I was wrong all along. I thought I was right. That is exposure. He has come to learn something. So you give yourself an opportunity also what? To learn always about your marriage. That is one of the failures of today's married couples. They don't invest in learning. Those I counsel, I always tell them, you must read books. You must, it's a lifetime thing. You did a 4-year course. How many books did you read in the university? How many books did you read? Now you're doing a 40-year marriage, you don't want to read one book. You see how stupid it is? You don't want to read one book. So exposure will help you see your own limitations, but more importantly, have that person in that marriage. I'm not saying run to that person every day, but that one person must always be there where you go up to. If you refuse to honor somebody like that in your marriage, you're on your own. Right. Okay, thank you. Okay, you want to add? Okay, great.
So I want to add up to the having a mentor as in someone you look up to. Mostly those people are not supposed to be your parents. I would say that in a sense that You know, in your house, the man is the king in his house. That's how your parents sees you. The lady too, your parents sees you as a queen. So your parents will be biased. Yes, your parents will tend to be biased, especially when it comes to solving issues, because everyone values and they are, yes. So they will be biased where they are supposed to be fair and say whatever the issue or whatever the problem is. They are not going to do it because they feel, I will not push my daughter under the carpet, or I will not push my son under the carpet. So parents will be biased when you are looking for mentors in marriage. You look out for someone who you think has been married for a long time, someone who is God-fearing, and then you use that person as a mentor.
Thank you so much, Pastor, and thank you so much. I really appreciate your point of view, because even I myself, I hardly discuss issues with my mom because she loves me so much. Sometimes it's obvious, but be it as it may. Now, we should remember that we are talking about Christian marriage here. Despite the fact we have to take clue from the secular world, we need to understand the foundation of our marital relationship. And when we come to that stage whereby the both party believes they are right, the Bible says that to him which much is given, much is expected. I believe the man has a lot of responsibility in this area. And I believe when you get to that stage where the both party could not agree, I think the best thing to do is to turn to the Holy Spirit. When you come to that situation, what you need to do is not to argue. Just begin to pray. Sometimes you might not know what to pray. And this is one of the reasons why we as parents, we must teach our children the importance of prayer, committing things into the hands of God. And that is one of the reasons you see a lot of collapse in marriage today, because we felt that we can do all things by our own understanding, forgetting to know that God, the one who has the blueprint for marriages, we care less to go back to him. We just feel we want to use our understanding. And the Bible says that we should not lean on our understanding. So my recommendation is this. After all your recommendations, they are perfect. But when it comes to a stage whereby you feel that things are not working, the best thing to go back to the master and begin to pray. Father God, I don't know what I've done wrong, what my sister have done wrong. Please, Father, take control. And before you think of it, you will see, the Bible said that let the peace of God that pass all understanding will fill your heart. You will see a kind of, when we build our homes upon the principle of the Holy Spirit, you will begin to see fantastic results. It's not about age. I think I was telling you the other time, I got married at the age of 36 years, and the marriage is 20 years now. I've learned a lot from you. So it's not about age. We should learn to submit. Learn a lot. So I think the bottom part of it is, let us go back to the man, to the one that created that institution. And before you think of it, somebody will just say, oh, is that thing? Is that what we've been arguing of? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this one will say, I'm sorry. And that is the peace of God, that passes all understanding. Thank you.
Okay, so I have an addition and a question, but I'll go with the addition because that part is very, very important to me. Okay, so the part where you spoke about no election after marriage, no campaign after election, that part is very, very important to me, because sometimes when we are stressed and you take us to the ice cream, you take us to the movies, these things releases the stress, and then we feel better in marriage. So we shouldn't just totally abandon it. Yes, there is reality in marriage. Let's once in 3 months take our wives to Mali resorts, to the big blue resorts. and then we just, rejuvenate ourselves to feel better. Thank you very much.
Revisiting campaign promises.
And then my question is, the part where you spoke about some women building a house for their parents without their partners being aware. This goes to both sides of the partners. Let's say, for example, you know that your wife, if you discuss, the state of your parents' house, you want to discuss it with her, she will tell you that, oh, give me the work, give me the money, let me go and buy Bone Street or something. She will not allow you to progress. So are you supposed to just let him be aware and go ahead with your project? Or are you supposed to come to a certain level? I want to know what we are supposed to do in that situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me come in before we move on. Thank you. Yes, so again, the emphasis today was on forming and storming, right? Appreciation comes under norming and performing. So we have not actually treated it, but we were not in any way suggesting that you don't appreciate your spouse, you don't take your spouse out and all of. We are not in any way. We are just saying that let the ground rules be clear, de-escalate certain expectations. At times, if the expectations are there and they are not met, it's very disheartening. But even if they are not there and even a small effort is made, it is appreciated. I don't know if you get my point. So yes, as much as possible, let's appreciate our spouses. Let's find time to spend time together. If the budget can support Maldives, why not go to Maldives? If you can support safari in Kenya, go to Kenya. Zanzibar, once you agree to it, the two of you, I think it's fine. The question about a spouse building and then the other person not being aware. So it's about the situation of the house and about what has been discussed. Of course, if you have your own money and you want to build for your parent, nobody can stop you from doing that. Nobody can stop you from doing that, right? But it should not be a surprise to your spouse. I don't know if you're getting my point. Your spouse should not be finding out after the building is, and all of that. What happens is that it creates mistrust in the marriage. Because a time might come when your spouse would have needed your help financially for something, but you were not able to give because you are committing that money for something else he's not aware of. As far as your spouse is concerned, once it was not discussed and once he's not in the known of it, it shows where your priority is in the marriage, right? So I think transparency is what we are emphasizing here. You have your money, you want to build for your parents, powerful, but it should not be at the blind side of your spouse. You don't need your spouse's permission to build for your parents. You don't need it. But make sure that you do not sacrifice your family's need, your immediate family, your spouse and your children's need for the good of your greater family, your parents. And the first need is your husband, your wife, and your children. So just make sure that those are close, those lines are dotted, and you're free to use your money anyhow you want to use it, right? Okay, great. Pastor Ramses?
Rev, I have a question.
Okay.
For those who are not yet married, and even for...
You are asking for them?
Yes.
Okay.
So on their behalf.
Okay.
There are two different types of human beings. You explained to us the forming stage and then the storming stage. There are some people who are supposed to be in the forming stage of their relationship, but they're already in the storming.
Okay.
There are guys, that are beating their ladies. They go to the extent of beating them. Please, what advice do you have for them? Then there are ladies who say, when he beats me, then the love I have for him after some time, it increases. That's also a class.
No, I don't think you'll find them in tri-family chapel.
That's a category of people. Rob DSS. So, what advice do you have for people who are supposed to be forming, but they are already storming? Should they quickly get out, or what's the advice for them? Thank you.
So, I mean, if you can't even form, then you shouldn't be talking marriage in the first place. Go and find somebody you can form with. When you can form with. It means that from day one, you guys are not supposed to be together. And the thing about beating somebody, please report the person to the police for assault. Okay? Report the person to the police for assault and let it be handled at that level. Even in storming, you don't beat. I mean, you only disagree. You don't beat. So, I think that should be that. I don't think, I mean, to say that if your spouse or your boyfriend beats you, then it increases the love. I don't know. Maybe you need to visit the psychiatry so that you are examined properly and your thinking is readjusted and recalibrated so that you know what love is and what abuse is, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah. Ask your question. Yeah, please give. What's the name you mean? Promise. Give. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, you come in. Then promise you come in. Yeah.
Okay, please. I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Please, should sex solve problems in marriages?
Okay.
Sometimes, when there is an issue, instead of we sitting to talk about it, men think, oh, let me do it and it will solve the problem.
Okay.
It's not like that.
Men, are you hearing? Okay.
Secondly, Rev,
All right, please.
It's not every outing that costs money.
Okay.
Sometimes you can even drove your wife to the mall.
Okay.
Walking, talking, discussing. You sit somewhere, you talk, you go. Sometimes you go to the beach alone.
Okay.
It is not cost, but always, I don't have money. Always work. Always, I don't have money. No. That one, it breaks communication.
Okay.
It is not every outing that costs money. So please, take note of that.
Powerful. I've taken notes. Powerful. I'm taking notes. Okay, so I think the first question, should sex solve issues? I don't think sex solves issues, right? I think issues must be discussed. Hello. I think issues must be discussed, right? And dispassionately. Issues must be dispatched from an unbiased point of view, and resolutions made. If you come to the norms, you'd have seen that you have to actually make concessions one another, basically. And where you need to apologize, don't allow pride to come in the way. Apologize and move on. After that, you can have your beautiful sex. But there's no way you have an issue and then you just think that, oh, we'll have sex and then it will solve it. No. One person will actually think that you are taking advantage of him or her and all of that. So please discuss issues. Discuss issues and get solutions. Then maybe as a sign of patching up, you can have a nice time and all of that. You have a question? Okay. Let Promise come and then you can come in, okay? Oh, really? Okay.
Pastor Derek, thank you so much. My question is a follow-up question on the ladies.
Question.
Yeah. So when you were answering the question, you were like, if it's your money, you can choose to build for your parents. So my question is on finances in marriage. When do you have your money?
Okay.
When is it our money?
Okay.
when is it his money? What kind of advice can you give us financially?
Okay.
As married couples?
Okay, powerful.
Thank you.
So, like we saw, hello, please let's be quiet. Like we saw, one of the reasons for, in quotes, divorce is finances. If you remember, we look at the top 10 and then finances is part of it. Number 4, actually. So, it is very simple, right? It has to be discussed. Do we have a joint account? Do we have a separate account? It has to be discussed. I don't do joint accounts. But I know my responsibility to my family. Once I dispatch that, the rest of the money is my money. But I must prioritize family over whatever I want to use that money for. If you have discussed your finances and your wife is supposed to bring a certain amount to complement what is in the house, once she brings it, and that is because that is based on what you have discussed. Once she has brought it, the rest of the money is her money. If she's not expected to bring anything at home, whatever she earns is her money. Are we getting it? So it is about, I know there are couples where even the wife takes the full salary and gives to the man. And now the man decides how it is used. I've worked in the north before where ladies will come and carry load. We're building cell sites that time. And we're paying them like 10 cedis a day, and that's like 10 years ago. Ladies will come and carry their load, and when they get their money, they go and give it to their husbands. And then the husband will now be giving them daily allowances every day. That is what they have discussed, and that is what is working for them. It's working for them. So the important thing is that nothing takes you by surprise. How should we treat money in the marriage? It must be discussed before you contract the marriage and agreed on before you contract the marriage, so that there are no surprises in the marriage tomorrow. But if it's not discussed, then the man is expecting the woman to do something. The woman so thinks that, no, my money is my money, your money is our money. And then it creates all kinds of issues. Let's discuss everything during the forming stage. If not, it will create issues for us in the storming stage. There's no one size answer for things like this. It's about what is discussed. It's not too late. Maybe you did not discuss it before you got into the marriage. You can still discuss it and agree on something workable. But if traditionally the man is a provider and all of that, and the woman knows that, no, things are not really good for my husband, or we are on a project or something like that, and she still decides that I will not agree, my money is my money, and all of that, then it's a different story. What it means is that the woman is not in a marriage for the marriage, she's in a marriage for her own self. Are we getting it? Marriage for her own self. Because the needs of the family must be prioritized above every other thing. Once that is sorted out, if I know I have to give my wife X amount for housekeeping, once I've given her X amount for housekeeping, the rest of the money is for me. But I must be transparent with her on what I use it for, so that tomorrow there will be no issues. I hope that clarifies it. Powerful. Great. Yeah, I promise. Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening. My question, I understand that there are many reasons for marriage. What is the main reason for marriage?
Okay.
And the second one is, let's say you see a red flag about divorce in a lady that you know you can't solve. What should you do next? If maybe you should actually secure your property or something, what should you do next?
Okay, so the first question has to do with the purpose for marriage, right? So our brother said he knows there are many reasons for marriage. I don't know of many reasons. Like I said, you have to visit the blueprint for marriage based on what God has told us what marriage is about. And that blueprint is in Genesis. Why did God create Eve? That's the whole question. Because God created only Adam at first. Are we here? Only Adam at first. Why did God now decide that it is necessary to create Eve? That is the purpose for marriage. God said, the Bible said that, and God found out that every other animal in the garden had a mate. But the man that he created did not have any mate. And God said, I will create a helper for the man. I'll create what? A helper. Now, a helper means that, and before now, God had already given Adam an appointment letter to take care of Eden, is that not it? To tend it and all that. So Adam had a purpose in God. Now God says, I'm giving Adam a helper who would also be what? A companion. Because the original reason why God created Eve was because Adam, unlike all the other animals in the garden, was alone. So the primary purpose of marriage is companionship. If you ask me, it overrides every other thing else. It's companionship. You need a life companion who will be a helper in fulfilling God's purpose. That for me cuts it. Companionship. Companionship comes before helper. Companionship comes before child bearer. Companionship comes before house cleaner or home chores. What? The primary rule is what? Companionship. Because God saw a need, and in addressing it, He said, no, I'll create a helpmate for the man. So the purpose of marriage for me is companionship based on scriptures. Then that companion does not just become a companion, she also becomes a helper. And then the two now form an inseparable union, which is called one flesh, to prosecute God's purpose for them. So I don't know of any other purpose apart from this. I know today people get married to cash out in 10 years. If that is their purpose, it's not biblical. People get married in order to have children. Children are a byproduct of marriage, not the main product of marriage. So you don't say, I'm divorcing my wife because she's not producing children. No. God did not say, I'm giving Adam Eve so that they can have children. He says, Adam is alone. He needs a companion. So I'll help him get a companion who will help him in his assignment. That is the primary purpose. So that is why I said that you cannot be married and have a best friend outside of your spouse. It's an error. You cannot be married and have a best friend outside of your spouse. Your spouse is your best friend. And we have to be intentional about this. You cannot be married and then you have your secret with somebody else who is not your spouse. So somebody knows intimate things about you better than your spouse knows. Think about it. That's a huge error. Your spouse knows you have a property in London. Your husband, your friend knows you have a property in London, but your spouse does not know. Think about it. Your friend knows you have a child in the US with some other lady, and your wife or your husband does not know. That's an error. At that stage, you're not treating your spouse as your best friend. Best friends spend time together. So if you are spending time with somebody more than your spouse, then your spouse is not your best friend. You must be in a hurry to come back to your spouse, to take your spouse out, to have good time with your spouse. Not to leave your spouse out and say, I'm with my boys. We're watching Champions League and all of that. No. The purpose for marriage is companionship. Let's truly make it matter, right? And then the second question about, you've seen a red flag. about your spouse, you've married already, right? You've seen a red flag. Do you start securing your property? Okay. So, the work of marriage, the model for marriage is Christ and the church. We all know about that. I taught that here. Christ and the church. So, especially if you are the man, you're always looking out for guidance from Jesus Christ. Because how Jesus Christ treats the church is how you ought to treat your wife. Now, Jesus has seen a lot of red flags about the church. True or false? A lot of red flags about the church. But does Jesus divorce the church? No. Does Jesus now say that because the church has a red flag, because the Bible tells us that we are co-heirs with Christ. Whatever is for Christ is also for us. Is that not it? Has Jesus gone to change the will? That because the church has a lot of red flags, I am amending the will so that the church will no longer be a co-heir with me. Has Jesus done that? No, Jesus has not done that. What does Jesus do for the church? Ephesians 5:25. He is cleaning us by the washing of the word. He's doing what? Cleaning us by the washing of the word. So that we become a perfect bride for him. That's what Jesus does. So if you see a red flag in your spouse, it is time to intercede for your spouse. It is time to pray for your spouse, especially if you are the man. The best prayers you can pray is to pray for your spouse. And I can tell you, it works. It works. You can fast for your spouse. And it works. Because, see, there are certain things you cannot change. You see, you can just give advice and forget it. Forget it. But when you pray, God works it. God works it. So don't give up on your spouse. There's no red flag that cannot be fixed. Go on your knees and pray about it. I always tell people that if there must be divorce, it must not be because of you. It's not because of you. If your spouse leaves you, that's fine. But don't be the one to leave the marriage. You can pray for your spouse. It works like magic. And God has shown that he can intervene in a lot of marriages, like our brother said. Remember when Sarah and Abraham had issues about Ishmael? Do you remember that? And Sarah said, Ishmael must leave. He cannot stay here again. Abraham was not happy. And that was a contentious issue. But the Bible said God appeared to Abraham and said, listen to your wife. So there's that God element in your marriage always. Remember when Mary came with a mysterious story about getting pregnant without a man. In fact, Joseph was not happy. In fact, Joseph had made plans. But the Bible said when he slept, an angel came. So God intervenes in our marriages so that they work, so that it works. An angel came to him and said, your wife is right. Don't divorce her. The next time he said, take your children into Egypt and all of that. So I'm just saying that when you feel like all is lost, you can rely on prayer. God will always come in to fix things. Thank you. Any other question? Okay, our brother here has a question. Oh, you have a question there? Okay. Hello. Good evening. When are we closing? What's the time? Okay, powerful. Let's go on.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In my case, I'm speaking for the virgins.
Okay, powerful.
Okay, so as a lady, the lady is a virgin, right? And then she's in a relationship with a man for 2 years. And now the guy is saying the lady should compromise and sacrifice in the relationship. What must the lady do? Must she leave or she should give in?
Okay. Okay, so I think, and let me just speak. Maybe somebody has an answer before I come in. Anybody has an answer? Okay, so I think it's quite straightforward, right? It's quite straightforward. No, you see, like we said, who are you answerable to at the end of the day? So if somebody will lead you into sin, I don't know how he's going to lead you into your purpose. I know how it's going to lead you into your purpose. I think an understanding husband will be that, let's do what the Bible says. Let's get married. I mean, as the married people here, why will you even, you don't even see why you should rush for sex. You don't see why you should rush for it. So it's just some fantasy you have out there when you are not married and think that and think that so God first, right? So tell your friend that God first. All right, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. I would want to use this opportunity to thank my mother for inviting me to such a program.
Who is that?
Gifty,
okay, powerful.
She's been a good mother from childhood. God bless you so much. We love to learn from such programs as these. About the first question, I'm still not clear. Where you and mommy were saying that it should be discussed.
Okay.
About sex.
Yeah.
Yes. I've had the opportunity to talk to most married people, and one thing that causes problem in marriages today is sex, where we use everything as an excuse. We use work, I'm tired, we use the children. Mommy spoke about medical aspect.
Dopamine effects.
I also believe that biblically, Bible does not limit sex. I think God in his own wisdom gave the 5 day for your menstruation to rest.
Okay.
After that 5 day of resting, God gives you the go ahead to fire the remaining days.
Okay.
I want to read the scripture.
Okay. Okay.
Papa, please, it's just what I've been hearing.
Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 7.
Okay.
Verse 4. Bible says that the wife hath no power over her body, but the husband. So assuming this woman is my wife, Bible is telling her that I have power over her body. Unfortunately, I'm married. Likewise to the men, that you have no power over your body than your wife. So the only thing Bible permits is that when both of us want to have some time to fast and pray, even that, I believe that if I have the ability to still whilst I'm fasting, she has no right to deny me that, because I have power over the body. I believe we need to understand this in our marriages today, so that we don't find many excuses. Like you are saying, we should discuss. So if my wife is telling me that, Kofi, I'm tired, I have to permit it, but Bible does not permit it. If you are tired, there are so many ways of satisfying your man. You don't always have to give the killer styles. That is why there are simple styles like missionary. Papa wa brekra odi edaho na menya de meye. In the other way around, say wo be man so wa bra daho na mentena so. It solves it. You see, Bible says that so that we don't allow the devil into our marriages. When we keep using these things as excuses, now bako brea, they tend to find alternatives. But when we avail our bodies, I am yours, use me as you want. God be peace.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Let's clap for him. Let's clap for him. So the discussion does not mean that you should build excuses, right? The discussion is to agree on what works for both of you. That's basically it. What works for both of you. Like I said, even in the discussion, there should be adjustments to actually update whatever you have discussed, and then find a way forward. At the end of the day, it's the two of you agree on what works for you and stick to it and let it work. Denying each other's sex unjustly should not be the way to go. As much as possible, we should make room for the satisfaction of each other sexually, right? So thank you so much for that. All right. Ellie, was your hand up or for a moment? It's not needed anymore. You want to ask a question? Okay, I think let this brother ask, then you come in here.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Derek. So I know the primary purpose of this seminar is to get our marriages to work. So from your experience as a pastor, are there situations where you would advise for separation?
For separation? So far, I've not had that. I've not had such a situation where I think there's enough grounds for separation. It should be an option, a short-term option, basically to wind off and then come back with an informed decision to how the marriage should work. But I don't believe in separation that is perpetual or anything like that. But like I said, so far, I've not had a situation where I suggested or thought that it was necessary for a separation. If you ask me, if pride is dealt with in marriage, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. It's just people's egos that comes in their way for solving issues. If somebody is wrong and can admit that I'm wrong, there's no issue. There's no issue, right? There's no issue. So yes, I've not had that experience of advising a separation to the best of my knowledge. But if it becomes necessary, it should be for a short term, basically to pick one or two lessons and come back stronger. Okay, thank you. Ellie?
Yes, please. Thank you. So still getting back to the 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4.
Okay.
I think when you read the verse 5, it spoke about something there. So hypothetically, if a couple do agree to fast, say for 5 days, and then maybe 3 days into the fast, maybe the man is beginning to have a change of mind, that maybe he wants to have sex. In that situation, how do you deal with it as a woman?
You just allow it. You allow it.
You allow it.
Yeah.
Even though they agreed that maybe it will last for 5 days.
Yes, so it's another discussion you just have. Well, we've agreed, but it's subject to review. It's subject to review. So somebody is telling me that it's a physiological need under Maslow's need theory. So it's a need. Yeah, you agree? Yeah. No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that.
Okay.
All right, so
please, I want to, yes. So I think when people are fasting, people refrain because of the energy aspect. You are not eating, and whatever you are coming to do, you need strength. Do you get it? That's why people refrain. But aside that, if you are fasting and you still think you have the energy to do whatever you want, you do. Your spouse is not supposed to say no. Even if it's a 3 day straight fast, but you have the energy, you do it.
Okay. Yeah, so I have some couple of questions here.
Okay, I think Ellie says he's not done yet. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, final one. So hypothetically also, I'm dating my lady. We are preparing to get married. And then I think maybe she's had a traumatic experience growing up. That has affected, probably she was raped. And then it has affected her, her energy towards sex. It's not something that she's been able to open up on. And then we never talked about it. We've gotten married. And maybe I have high libido when it comes to sex. So, in the course of the marriage, I realized that sex is not something that she really likes to have. And then it is something that I can't do without. So, when I find myself as a man, as a husband in that situation, what's the best way to deal with it? Knowing very much that my wife now doesn't like it based on those traumatic experiences, and then I want to do it probably every day.
Okay. So,
please, hypothetically, not
experience. So there's always clinical help, right? There's always clinical help. If somebody is traumatized, it's not the end of the road for the person. There should always be support structures clinically where psychologists will meet you, and then you can actually work on that mindset and reduce the impact of the trauma, so that it does not affect your sex life. Don't affect your sex life. It can be a deep-seated experience. It can take some time, but this is where you need to actually work together with understanding to get that resolved. The lady must be committed to satisfying your needs, and you must also be committed to making sure that whatever psychological traumas she has had are resolved. So you work together to solve it. Don't just insist from day one that, well, this is it. Once the two of you are committed on a roadmap to her resolution, I think you just follow that roadmap and it will be solved, and then you can have a lot more time together.
So I'm adding something small to it. So like Pastor Derek said, even if you are not taking the person to the hospital to prepare him or her mind psychologically, you, the individual, can do it. Yes, your spouse can do it. You know, she was raped, so she was forced. Her sexual organ was not prepared for sex. So you will psychologically talk to her. Whatever happened to you was forced. So you had pains, you did this. And then you, the individual, have to prepare her sexual organ psychologically. That is why when you are having sex, you don't just, please, those who are not married, I have to say it, but you don't just penetrate, no. But you have to prepare, you the man, you prepare the lady must prepare your organ, while you, the lady, will prepare the man's own. That is why you start by kissing, there's petting, there's, yes, all those things. It's not, let's say, initiating sex, but in a way, it's preparing your organ, your sexual organ. Because as a result of those things, the woman is going, the place is going to be ready to accept yes. I don't want to. So yes, you prepare the person. You prepare. That will help. But if you don't prepare, the lady will always have it at the back of the mind that sex is supposed to be painful. So I have to accept it like that. No, but you prepare, and then when you even in the process of doing it, you find out from your spouse, is she feeling pains? Yes, so you know when to stop and when to. Yes, thank you.
I think we need to organize a married couples only one so that we can delve into some of
it.
So we should be rounding up.
So I have some couple of questions here.
We should be
some people sent to me, so we have to exhaust this one. A question here says that, please, I want to ask, how can a wife get her man to communicate more to her and then become more vulnerable to him?
Okay, so I did a session on temperament here. I think it was a Sunday service where we look at the various temperaments. You remember that? Those who were here. So if somebody does not communicate openly, he's more likely melancholic, right? Who keeps to him or herself, processes everything in his or her mind, and then just works on his own convictions and all of that. So the first thing is to know the temperament of your spouse, so that you know his or her biases when it comes to communication. A melancholic will not want to feel vulnerable. He will not even discuss it. A choleric will also not want to come out as a vulnerable person. A sanguine might, a phlegmatic might. So you know the temperament of your spouse, then you know where and how you are taking the person on that journey. Like we said, your temperaments are not supposed to be excuses for you, but you are supposed to become pointers that you use to improve on yourself. on yourself. So a discussion about temperament, I think, will help in this case, where you know the natural bias of your spouse, and then you cut a roadmap to improve communication based on the temperament you've identified. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So the second question. Please advise me. I'm a devoted Christian, but currently I'm in love with a fetish priest. Now, the person says, should I go ahead and marry her? So that means it's not a priest, but a priestess. Yes, it's a female.
Okay, so the Bible says we should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So that's a no-no. Oh no, so let the person be converted before you get married. So it's a big no. It's a big no. It's a big no. Whether a Muslim, it's a time bomb. Yeah. You can go and seek counsel from Agrada, but it's a no-no. It's a no-no. Yeah.
Okay. Rev.
Yeah.
This one is from me personally.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's ask ourselves: when you meet a lady, what do you look out for from the lady before going ahead to say, I want to marry you?
Okay.
I'm saying this because, men as we are, we first look at the physical, buttocks, color, height, the person's from a wealthy home and all that. So you see that when these things come first, when you are seeing the red flags, beeping, you forgo. So, as some of our women, we are married already. So the young ones that are coming, what should be their primary motive when they feel now they can settle down with a woman? What should they look out for from the woman before?
Okay. So again, it comes down to the purpose of marriage, right? Why did God institute marriage? A companion, a helpmate. So those are the two boxes that must be ticked. And that is what will stand out at the end of the day. Big buttocks will not keep a marriage, even though it can attract the two of you together. Big breasts will not keep a marriage. It can only attract, right? Because I'm just saying that the physical stats and all of that play their role in bringing the two together, but they don't really play a role in keeping the two together. What keeps the two together is character. What keeps the two together is purpose. And what keeps the two together is when you find comfort in one another. Basically, you can come with one another. So I'll not just say it's just a physical exercise when it comes to settling on who to marry. I didn't have to date my wife before I knew she was the one I was going to marry, because I had what the Bible calls peace. Peace. I just knew she was there, and I think it was the Holy Spirit that was leading me in all of that. So I didn't have to consider a lot of things. I didn't have to see whether a reaction. I didn't have to do a lot of it because I had a witness. I'm not saying this for everybody. I'm telling you about my own experience. I had a witness. So we started dating, and the next day I said, let's go and see your mom. I want to know your mom. She wasn't comfortable. I said, no, I mean, we've crossed this already. I know what's going on. So when to see their mom, they was okay, but I had the peace. I knew everything was okay. Whatever it is, it will be sorted out. But that should not be your case if you are not at a place where you can discern this peace, like I'm saying. For you, you must look out for what basically is aligned to character. One of the things you must be looking out for, how the person reacts when he's offended and angry and all of that. what's the person's ambition? Because you're marrying for purpose also. What's the person's ambition? Is the person teachable, whether male or female? Is the person teachable? Because if you marry somebody who's not teachable, trust me, you will outgrow the person and it will become an issue in the marriage. The person doesn't want to grow, meanwhile you are growing. Is the person teachable? Is the person ready to improve and learn and make progress and all of that? So I think when you have that checklist sorted out, and with prayer, because you cannot leave that out, you should be able to get to the place where you have this kind of peace I'm talking about to be able to move on in the marriage. You will not have all the red flags turn green. You will not have, but you should be able to work with what we call something acceptance. Acceptance in marriage. What can you live with for the rest of your life if the lady does not change or if the guy does not change from that? You must be ready to answer that question. What can you live with? The guy is unkempt and all of that. Can you live with that for the rest of your life? If you can, that's fine. If you cannot, don't go ahead. Don't go ahead. Don't go ahead. But don't go in thinking that you have the power to change somebody. You don't. You don't have the power to change somebody. You can only change yourself. You can only change yourself. So, what are you ready to accept? What can you not accept? I think once that list is sorted out, you should be ready to move to the next phase. But I will really, really recommend that you seek the peace of God when it comes to the choice of a marital spouse. It makes the work very easy. It makes the work very easy. You just know that this is the person. You don't think twice about it. You just move on. Great. Thank you.
Right. So, last question. The woman's mindset. There was one thing you mentioned there that it's like she's been overburdened in the house, like the man doesn't help and all that. And I know most of men are corporates when it comes to this. And you marry, you are alone with the woman, things are not too complex, but children come in, the wife has to do a lot of things, the man needs to help. Okay. I think it's one thing I can boast of as a man, as a married man, okay? One thing I do at home to really help, the chores. When I'm home, I help to do a lot of things. There are some things that I even prefer to do. I don't want my wife to do it because I think I'm even better in doing those things. So if you are a man in the house and you help the woman, I think there are a lot of things that you might do that the woman even will forgive you because she knows that if I'm angry with this man, who will be able to do this for me? So
transaction,
Yes. So the men should try to help the women at home. Thank you.
Okay. Powerful. So let me just add to that. As much as possible, if you can, outsource manual work to somebody else to do. As much as possible. I mean, if you can. You don't have to do all the work by yourself as a woman or the man. If you can, laundry. If somebody can take care of it, let the person take care of it and give the person some money. If you ask me, gardening, whatever it is, as much as possible, if you can, outsource what can be outsourced so that you and your wife actually have good time, a restful time, and nobody is burdened with unnecessary chores. If you can. But if you can't, and you have to manage, then you need to support one another when necessary. You need to support one another when necessary. If you have to buy a washing machine, buy. Are you getting it? Buy a washing machine. It helps make the work easy. And I mean, put in the help you can get, you can give, and all of that. The point is that I don't want anyone to be burdened with menial works unnecessarily. The work of taking care of children is a lot of work. as a man, you need more quality time. I can't imagine using my work time to wash dishes. I feel like something that will give me $100 an hour, I'm not using it to get something that will give me like two. You see, I mean, I'd rather use that moment more productively than on menial work. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. So if we can outsource it, I will encourage that we outsource it. Right. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. This is the last question.
Thank you, Rev. A question. In the case where both couples are used to their convo, to the extent where they cannot have any more convo, or do they love themselves, what should they do?
They are used to their
convo, their conversations.
That is,
you said something concerning long distance and close. Yeah, so this question is based on that. And the second one is the ladies.
No, I want to understand the question very well.
So there's a case where the couples are really used to their convo to the extent that now they don't know what to even say to each other again, because they know everything that they are going to say.
Oh, okay, I get you now. Have you eaten? Have you taken your bath? Okay. Okay.
And those things sometimes leads to either spouse getting to know different people, getting to enjoy their convo rather than their spouses. What should they do as a couple?
I would say that long distance marriage, yes, though it cannot be prevented in all instances, we should do everything we can to minimize the distance and to actually prioritize spending more time together as a couple. If you are in a long distance relationship, you have not actually started a lot of the things in marriage yet. Yeah, you can be there for 5 years and you have not even moved from forming yet. The day you meet, that is when you know that you have not made progress all this while. Long distance marriages need a lot of care. If you reduce it to just how are you, have you eaten, and all of that, nothing is really going on. 5 years, you have not really made any progress. So it's important you actually make time to spend time together. If it is by vacations or one person even sacrificing his job here to relocate to wherever the spouse is, I think I would rather encourage such discussions than remaining in a long distance relationship. What if you guys are together? Yeah, that is the point. If you are together, there's nothing like you just maintain your how are you, what you are. No, you would actually have a lot to discuss. You should have a lot to discuss. And you must be intentional about those discussions. You go to work, you come back, there are things to discuss. The children, there are things to discuss. Your work, his work, her work. There are a lot of things to discuss. And these are the things that actually help you to bond. Right? Yeah. If you are together and you are not discussing, then there's a challenge. There's tension at home, there's friction, and you have to fix that. Yeah. Okay, I think we are done, right? Yeah. You come and see me. Okay, powerful.
All right, so I think we should give some applause to Reverend Derek.
All right, okay.
All right, so thank you. God bless you. He's done very well. I think this is our maiden seminar, and we hope that we'll be able to organize more programs like this for you to attend. So we thank you all for coming. Sunday we worship here, so those of you who would want to worship with us, you are welcomed. We'll be pleased to have you on Sunday. Thank you very much. So let me invite Auntie Gift to give us the. All right. So network. If you don't know anybody, just get close. Get close. They are singles and they are yeah. So Auntie Gift can give us the closing remarks.
Good evening. We thank you all for coming. We thank God for a successful program. And we thank you all for coming. And we hope next time when we are doing something, we invite you, you will come. We thank our mommy and our daddy and our pastors who also came. I thank my team, to those who supported me to bring this program